Thank you for watching our presentation. Our group decided to focus on the country Niger.
An overview of the nation today. Niger has a population of 17.8 million people. Their government is unique as its power is split between a president and a prime minister. However, recently there has been a coup, and the president has lost all power and been put in house arrest. Niger is a pretty poor country. They depend a lot on their agriculture and livestock. So often during the drought seasons, they require foreign aid to survive a little longer. They're also a pretty unhealthy country. One example of that is they have a very high infant death rate. About 125 infants die out of 1,000 that are born.
The relationship between Niger and the United States began in the 1960s. There are different aspects that the two countries focus on, and these include food security, democratic governance, strengthening peace and security, respect for human rights, education, civil society in West Africa. Additionally, the U.S. has open borders to those in Niger who are getting away from conflict, therefore allowing them to enter the United States.
Niger is the 22nd largest country in the world, measuring approximately 489,191 square miles of rural and landlocked Western African territory. The sea levels range from about 474 feet in its valleys to 2,022 feet above sea level in its mountain ranges. Niger's diverse region can reach temperatures as high as 108 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, with an average low of 59 degrees during the winter. This country has a population of 26.2 million people, and an average life expectancy is 61.6 years old. Niger has 4 main and national languages. However, I am not going to try to pronounce them because I know I will pronounce them wrong, but they are listed on this slide.
Niger faces critical infrastructure challenges across various sectors. In transportation, it relies on neighboring countries' ports due to it being landlocked, with limited road networks and poor rural roads. Energy infrastructure is hindered by a heavy reliance on costly fossil fuels and low electrification rates. Water and sanitation services are lacking, impacting both health and development of its people. While telecommunications have improved, internet access still remains limited, particularly in the areas of rural communities. These infrastructure issues pose obstacles to Niger's development and well-being.
The political climate of Niger has been shaped by its turbulent economy, general distrust of government and government officials, violent conflict between parties and terrorist groups, and a rise in insecurity. The most recent coup, led by the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland, otherwise known as CNSP, has created further divide between citizens and government. Soldiers who are still loyal to the president have met counter demonstrations from supporters of the CNSP. In addition, anti-French sentiment and anti-West sentiment in general, held by citizens, is a large factor in the political climate.
The first slide for me is current events in the region. So basically the breakdown of the slide is that in Niger in the past couple months has had a military coup, military coup that has kidnapped the past president of the Fourth Republic of Niger and is now holding him hostage and now telling all Western governments like France and the United States and even by the Russians and Wagner Group to back off and basically just like leave their country and trying to maintain their sovereignty and negotiate on international stage and African Union. This has been the most significant thing to happen to Nigeria in quite a while. They haven't had a military coup in 20, 30 years, which has been, so that stability, they've been very stable for a long time. And so to have this happen again has been deeply concerning for a lot of its neighbors and for the international community, just because these military coups are often very bloody and have a lot of bloodshed or have a lot of civilian casualties. But yeah, that's the current events going on in Niger.
Regarding the culture of Niger, the major ethnic group is the Hausa, which consists of 55.4% of the country. Other than this ethnic group, there's the Jerma Sonrai, Tuareg, Pule, and Kanuri Manga present as well. The prominent religion is Muslim, and with this comes the Eid al-Fitr festival, which is held at the end of Ramadan fast. Other than Muslim, there are Christian and indigenous beliefs as well. The official language is French, and there is also Hausa and Jerma present as well.
Brief history slide. Nigeria started off as a British colony. It was colonized by the English for the better part of a century until 1954, when the English Parliament voted to give them independence, where they would then help them set up a democratic government that would almost immediately be taken out and would see a lot of the first republic had a lot of nepotism problems, where elected rulers would then immediately try and set up their kids for the next elected position and try to appoint people, which created a lot of problems, which then would lead to a civil war. 12 years later, that would be one of the bloodiest conflicts in Nigeria's history. From the wake of that civil war, though, then the Second Republic would start, and then there would just kind of be this perpetual cycle of nepotism, where people would try to install their kids or their family members into elected positions, which would then result in a lot of turmoil and then a lot of turnover. And over from about 1966 to 2023, there's been 4 different republics that have all had its problems, but the most recent one, the Fourth Republic, has been the most stable and successful as of late, until July of this year, where a military coup took over and installed a far right-wing government that has been openly hostile to the international community.
Violent extremism is a big threat in Niger today. The map to the right is a good representation of where and what kind of violence is happening in the country. You can see that most of it is concentrated in the southwest Tillaberi region. This region is affected most by efforts of extremist groups, IS Sahel and the JNIM. In addition, the Diffa region in the southeast corner is another hotspot for violence. The Diffa region faces insurgency threat from Boko Haram and ISWAP.
So opportunities that are found in Niger, probably the best economic opportunity in Niger is found in its mining. Niger is a top 10 producer of uranium because the soil is rich in it. The soil also has other resources such as gold, salt, limestone, coal, and oil, so they can mine those things and sell them as great resources. Also, fun fact, Niger is reported to be the 5th sunniest country in the world, so this gives them tremendous potential in renewable resources such as solar power to use that as a resource to power their cities.
This research project examined the feasibility of using Niger as a host for a new initiative aimed at improving food and water distribution to war and famine-affected villages. Key findings include the geographic advantages of Africa's diverse terrain, the importance of considering infrastructure conditions, assessing political stability, engaging with local communities, understanding historical context, and identifying the threats and opportunities available. Sustainability and international collaboration are also crucial factors in the success of this humanitarian project, emphasizing the need for careful decision-making and strategic planning. We hope you were able to learn something new from us today. Have a great rest of your weekend.